Hello, everybody. I am Dr. Olga Stevko, and here on this webinar with me is Kari. Kari, please introduce yourself.
My name is Kari. I'm from Wisconsin.
Thank you, Kari. And today we are going to talk about the unconscious programs that create limitations, problems, and issues in people's lives. And so people who are watching this webinar will recognize similar unconscious patterns and programs. And the methodology that I created allows me to identify and transform unconscious programs which cause issues and limitations. And these programs affect the nervous system response or responses that impact both body and mind. And I prepared some questions, and I have a list of questions for Kari. And also, we created a list, and Kari, you have that list too, of the benefits and your experience after the sessions, right?
Yes.
And what kind of issues you had.
Yes.
And first of all, we are going to talk about what areas of your life were positively influenced by this work, what we did.
Every aspect. I would say certainly with my family, with my parents. I mean, there really isn't an area that wasn't affected in a positive way.
Thank you. And let's talk about some specific issues that we worked on. And first, you experienced that your sleep improved dramatically. And please talk about that.
Sure.
Before and after.
Right before I started working with you, I had sort of a health crisis, and my sleep just completely went away. Prior to that, I had a pretty good relationship with sleep, but it went so far off track. But after working with you, I fall asleep within 5 minutes and wake up either at the alarm or just naturally. And also, before this work, if I had something coming up the next day, like I had to take a flight or something early or something to prepare for, I would not sleep very well. I would wake up sort of every hour and sometimes be checking the time, and I don't have that issue at all anymore. So it's made such a huge difference. And actually, when I went through that health crisis, my body was just running on fumes because I was under so much stress and I wasn't sleeping, and it was just, everything was compounding. And once I started my sessions with you, I was amazed at how fast everything turned around. I mean, it was within days or minimal weeks that I felt like I was fully on the right track, and that my gas tank was full.
Thank you, Kari. And I looked exactly what we worked on, and it's interesting that how you describe what was going on. And it was one of the unconscious program that comes up when I help people with sleep issues. And you described that your brain was looping. You were going back to memories. Do you remember?
Yes.
And it was because of that, it was very hard to fall asleep. And if you did eventually, you woke up very, very early.
Mhm.
And people with similar unconscious programs that create kind of brain is looping. And what people describe my clients kind of going round in their mind. And
Mhm.
what they experience also as a result of that, not only they had sleep issues, also they had kind of repetitive thoughts about some events that happened before, and
Mhm.
kind of thinking what they could have done better during
Mhm.
those memories, uh,
Mhm.
and kind of reliving some events.
Mhm.
Interestingly enough, this program also caused them to feel and to be stuck
Mhm.
in certain areas of their life.
Yep.
And I'm curious, what I mentioned, did you experience any of that? What
Yes.
the program caused?
Yes. All of that.
Oh, interesting. So
Mhm.
interesting.
Mhm.
Thank you, Kari. And also, um, we uh, it's what you mentioned already just maybe a few moments ago, that you were your own words out of fumes. Does
Mhm.
it mean you had very low energy or fatigue?
Well, both. My mental processes during that time were just, I mean, oh, it was like I was a ping pong ball, and it was really hard to just get day to day during that time. There were so many things. It was like I have this health crisis, but then all of these things sort of either triggered it to go beyond just a normal flu, or actually what I think it was COVID, before people were really testing for it in my city. And it was just like I had the physical of the different illnesses, but then all these mental things started arising. And there were things too. I mean, I think this was sort of coming, it was sort of on its way, and then I had this health crisis, and it just sort of exploded. And I did have a thing where I used to be really scared of change. I mean, anytime my husband would say, like, well, maybe we should do it this way at the office, or we should, I just couldn't handle it. I just would shut it down immediately. And there were so many things, and my dad had recently moved back home, and he had been away for 20 plus years, and it was sort of a traumatic thing when he had left. And so it was like all these things were sort of all these changes, and we also were moving offices, and all these things were happening, and it just was like a perfect storm. But sort of in the best way, because I've been able to address all these things and release them, and I'm so much better for it now.
Thank you, Kari. And what I believe I remembered, you felt overwhelmed
Oh yeah.
from all of those things.
Oh
And
yeah.
interestingly enough, I had clients who felt overwhelmed. And
Hmm.
of course, it's understandable. People feel overwhelmed sometimes when it's truly a lot of going on.
Hmm.
And sometimes people feel overwhelmed, even not a lot of is going on in their life, even from small things, because
Sure.
kind of their nervous system is overloaded. And did you sometimes so often felt overwhelmed, even there were not too much that going on?
Yes. Yeah, I could easily feel very overwhelmed by just menial tasks. Um, yeah, just simple things. I mean, just even like in the beginning of our sessions, just simply wanting the drawings, me to send the drawings. And I mean, usually I wouldn't do it right away. I might do it in a couple of weeks or forget. And now after quite a long time now, I do it the same day. So there's just a lot of things that they weren't necessarily hard things to do, but I had some sort of a mental block.
That's
So I
right.
have become a lot more productive in a lot of areas in terms of getting things done and
Or even you became more productive. How about your energy now compared to before we started our work?
oh gosh, a lot better. A lot better. Um, yeah, I mean probably 90% better. Um, yeah, much more energy, much more willing to try new things, do new things. And one of our last sessions, actually, the last few, sort of opened me up more socially.
Oh,
Um,
great.
yeah, and I think I had like a small social circle, you could say. But I sort of avoided some of the larger things with maybe past classmates and different things. And I've really branched out into that. And that's been something new that I wasn't doing before. So that's been nice.
Uh, Thank you, Kari. And do you feel the same overwhelmed even from little things to do now?
No, no.
Because some unconscious programs can create all of what we mentioned
Mhm,
and take a lot of energy
mhm,
because how nervous system is reacting with
mhm,
freeze, flight, or freeze responses,
mhm,
whatever triggers it, and it takes a lot of energy.
mhm.
Uh, and you also told me when we, I believe, had our first session that you did not have a good focus and memory during that time.
Oh gosh, yeah. I didn't have a focus memory.
You could not focus like well, and also
Oh,
your memory was affected greatly.
yes, and what's interesting is that my mind was going back to these old memories, and some of these memories, I mean, I had not thought about once since they happened, years ago, and they seemed trivial. But my mind was going back, and it was just like bouncing all over the place. And it was really hard to focus, and it just was, I was in overdrive, it felt like. And so once I started doing my work with you, my mind was able to completely settle down and be still. And it would just feel clear. And that was such a relief because I couldn't, when my mind was like that, I couldn't I couldn't sleep. I was crying all the time. I was so out of my body that it was just amazing that Ben saw you on a podcast and thought maybe this would help. And actually what's interesting is our very first session, we hadn't even gotten into the actual practice, and we had a break, and I went to the bathroom and I looked in the mirror and I looked completely different to myself. And at that moment, I knew it was going to work because it was like the first thing that just gave me so much hope. And I looked completely different. And I thought, we hadn't even really done the session yet. Looking
I
back,
just, Kari, sorry for interrupting you. It was during our first session, right?
yes, it was our first session. It was a group session, but we had not gotten into the actual.
Transforming unconscious program, right?
Yeah, we hadn't gotten into that yet. But we had been talking for a little while, and we had a break, and I went to the bathroom and looked in the mirror, and I looked completely different.
Oh,
And,
oh wow.
yeah, and I said, this is gonna work. I just knew it. And
And
yeah,
Kari, I did hear that before. that people are already started to feel better even before transforming some unconscious programs. Because during that session, its first step is bringing awareness what's going on with you, mentally and in your body and unconscious patterns. And bringing awareness, it's a first step for healing, resolution, and transforming something what you want to transform.
Yeah.
And also, we talked about memory, and back then, before I helped you, how was your short-term memory? Did you forget about certain things you needed to do, or where you put things or not?
I guess I would be a little forgetful, not necessarily with where I put things, but
Like
I
about
could have something sort of on my plate and sort of forget about it. And yeah, I would say maybe could have used improvement.
and how about now? Did it improve?
Yes. Yeah.
Great. And you told now you have more mental clarity, much more.
Yeah.
And also much better decision making.
Yes. Yeah, now I'm more rooted, I guess, in my decisions and in my communication too. So I think that's really improved, relationships too, because I'm more rooted, I'm more sort of behind what I'm saying, I guess.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And one of the issues we worked on sensitivity to sounds, not human produced, whatever is going around in the environment. And we had only one session, and what you described me, because I wrote it down, that you felt before jumpy, nervous, startled, and irritated. Right? And now you told dramatically improved. Like how much percent is improved approximately?
I think 80% improved.
And it's only after one session. I had some clients, it took more than one sessions, but not too many, sometimes 2 sessions or 3, and they do not have that hypersensitivity to sounds. And it's good to be vigilant. It's good to be vigilant, so your unconscious mind is protecting you. Like whatever is happening, you can react upon that. Only when people feel, when they're vigilant, they feel that way, jumpy, startled, angry, anxious, irritated, then it can affect your body and mind. And in this case, doing this work and transforming unconscious programs that create sensitivity to sounds, or, for example, light or smells, what can it achieve for you? You still can be vigilant, only you won't feel anymore like anxious or irritated or jumpy or nervous.
Yeah.
And I remember, like I wrote it down too, the unconscious program we worked during that session, that program created a sense of chaos in your head.
Yeah.
And I had some clients with a similar program, and some of them, they recalled even genetic memories that created that. It's so interesting. Some of my clients recalled, for example, their ancestor was experienced a war, for example, during some war or attack or violence in a family system or other people. And
Yeah.
at that moment, what was created, that sense of chaos, whatever was happening. For example, people are running, screaming.
Mhm.
And somehow that was imprinted in the
Yeah.
unconscious mind, and the information on DNA that they passed into next life generations.
Mhm.
Now there is scientific evidence that trauma can pass genetically, kind of uh, through epigenetics, genes expression, and
Mhm.
come from even several generations ago.
Mhm.
And I remember you experienced, I believe, more than a couple of times, but I remember 2 times vividly some recall of kind of genetic memories. Do you
Mhm.
remember?
Yes. Mhm.
And what, even I wrote it down to remember, what you experience during one of our sessions. Um, we we worked on low back pain and kind of uncomfortable feeling in abdomen. And that memory, what you experience, it was kind of a sense stuck on the ship. And
Mhm.
it was all the times. Like, I
Mhm.
believe I asked something like maybe 18th century, maybe 19th century, and feel like sense of feeling of your ancestors, uh, not enough food, feeling desperation.
Mhm.
Remember that experience?
Mhm.
Kind of waves and seasick.
Mhm.
And I believe I asked you, Kari, your ancestors, either from mother side or father side, or
Mhm.
both, they came to the United States,
Mhm.
like longer time ago, right?
Yes. Mhm.
From Europe, right?
Yes. Mhm.
And back then there were no airplanes.
Mhm.
People
Yeah.
traveled by ships, and
Mhm.
often it was a long trip. Trips were long, and
Yes.
conditions sometimes were not good. Could be
Mhm.
storms, could be danger,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And interestingly enough, I asked you some questions about that because my clients with a similar genetic experiences, some of
Mhm.
them develop motion sickness
Yes.
on a boat or car or bus, and
Mhm.
you had it too.
Yes. Mhm.
And
Yeah, very much.
being on a boat and also being a passenger on a back seat, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
after that session, you told me that issue became less motion sickness, right?
Mhm. Yes.
Even we did not work on that directly.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Isn't it interesting how those imprints, genetic imprints, can create issues, not just one,
Mhm.
multiple issues? Uh,
Yeah, and I would have motion sickness being a passenger in a vehicle, especially if it was windy or hills.
right,
And I remember one instance when I was maybe in high school, we were coming from dinner and it was windy and I was in the back seat and I had to have them stop and pull over and I got sick physically. And so yeah, that's something I haven't had to deal with for many years. Um but just always sort of had a sense of not feeling comfortable, especially if it was windy. But I don't seem to have that issue anymore.
then it's not decreased. It's now you don't have that issue, right?
No, not that I mean, I haven't noticed it for a long time. So,
Isn't it interesting how genetic imprints of your ancestors experience that
Mhm.
high degree of motion sickness, seasickness, could affect you like several generations after.
Mhm. Yeah. Mhm.
And working on those imprints, even it happened genetically, can resolve that issue.
Yes.
Uh,
Mhm.
and also, I remember you recalled another genetic memory. We worked on the unconscious program that created kind of a sense of swirl in your head. We
Mhm.
worked on some issue. And what came first from your unconscious mind? Um, Words, shelter, protection. And after an image came, kind of a strong rain in
Mhm.
a wide open field with tall grass. And
Mhm.
in a sense, it happened long time ago, like again, maybe 18th or 19th century. And
Yeah.
feeling, you experience feelings of your ancestor at that time, feeling
Mhm.
lost, no protection, no safety, no control, and nowhere to hide.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I ask you some questions because such an imprint, because it is trauma, and
Mhm.
we did not know what happened exactly. It could be some military actions, or
Mhm.
during the war, or after the war, or being separated from your family for some reason,
Mhm.
or because of the weather condition, maybe they travel by horses uh, and it's what happened, what you described.
Mhm.
Like we
Yes.
don't know what happened, only interestingly enough, what you told me when I asked you some questions, that your grandmother and your mother, they were afraid of storms,
Mhm.
right?
Yes. Yep.
And storms, it is rain, that
Mhm.
possibly that imprint affected their lives.
Mhm. Yeah, my mom, she said that my grandmother, if there was a storm in the night, she would wake up all the kids and they would huddle, and just be scared. And, that transferred a lot to my mom's life, just not being just afraid of storms, but being afraid to do a lot of things, go on rides and do different things. Just always having a sense of being scared. Um, so it's interesting, yeah, that showed up.
And I had some clients who recalled similar kind of genetic memories, imprints,
Mhm.
when something was happening very unpleasant, and
Mhm.
during that moment, it was a gloomy weather or
Mhm.
rainy weather or snowing, and
Mhm.
interestingly enough, they had symptoms during rain, uh, and or gloomy weather and or snow. They had kind of they felt very tired or
Mhm.
headaches or
Mhm.
could not function the same like
Mhm.
during normal weather or felt sad,
Mhm.
and working on transforming that unconscious program, working on those imprints that were formed during some genetic memory or memories, uh,
Mhm.
resolved those symptoms.
Yes. Mhm.
And I'm curious, how about you when it was rainy weather? Did you feel tired or sleepy or something else?
No. Mm-mm.
Very interesting. It's very interesting. It
Yeah.
affected your grandmother and mother, but not you.
No. No.
Okay.
Um, yeah, it's sort of interesting too, even now, like, my mom will say, "Oh, we're supposed to get, 3 to 4 inches of snow and this," and I'm like, "Let's just wait and see what happens." But yeah, it's interesting. I mean, um, yeah,
Like how
very.
fast these imprints can be transformed. And
Mhm.
when they are transformed, they are like very noticeable, often dramatic results. And
Mhm.
that issue can be significantly decreased or completely gone.
Mhm. Yeah.
Thank you, Kari. And
Sure.
I remember you had like a lot of kind of anxiety or stress when we started our work, right?
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
how about now?
No, none. No, none now. At that time, I had a lot of anxiety. I had a lot of depression, and I never really experienced depression like that before. But it was, um, yeah, really scary, quite scary, really, at the time. But no, I've had none of that. No anxiety, no depression, no, um, um, trying to think of the right way to say this. Like a at that time, even like a poor sense of self. Yeah, I've had none of that. All of that actually, like the first after the very first session, um, we had plans to go on this houseboat with some family, and I just remember going there. And my mother-in-law drove me, and we were meeting everyone, and I just kept thinking to myself that, things were changing. And I just was like, the future just seemed so bright because um it had just been like a cloud was over me for it really went on for like 6 months. Um and it was tough. And I just right after that session, I just knew it was gonna work. And it was the best feeling in the world because yeah, I had never been in a slump like that before. So it was it felt really promising um when we started the work. So
Uh, when I explain what this methodology that I created can do, often I hear people are saying it's too good to be true.
mhm, yeah.
And it's hard to believe what's possible when you
Mhm,
transform major programs, right?
mhm,
Uh, Transforming unconscious programs that create issues will change how the nervous system reacts to everything that triggers flight, fight, and freeze, and
mhm,
also responses. And that will change how people look, how
mhm,
they feel, how they think, mental
mhm,
processing, even
mhm,
speed of mental processing, how they react, how they behave. All
mhm,
of that can be shifted, and we will talk about that more during our webinar. Uh,
mhm,
and Karen, uh, what I remember, it's your, even we did not work on that directly, your eyes, pupils were large all the time,
mhm,
right? And I had another uh, um, client who experienced the same.
mhm.
And what happened after our sessions?
Well, they went to a normal size. And when I was going through the health crisis is when they changed and when they were really large. And um, yeah, it was over a little bit of time working together, but yeah, they did totally change back. And that was really noticeable to me because my pupils had never looked that large before, and I figured it had something to do with all the stress, that I was under. And so that was neat to see. Not only do all these things does this methodology help mentally, can help a lot physically too. So that was interesting to see.
Thank you, Kari. And when eyes pupils are large, that
Mhm,
it can be created by many factors, even
mhm,
health conditions, even some medications, and also like constant anxiety and fear, but not for everybody, for some people. And working on those programs that resolved feeling anxiety, change how your pupils, eyes pupils are normal now. And for
Yes.
my client who had she experienced the same. Your eyes pupils are normal now.
Yeah.
And also, we worked on, you had an issue, you were scared being in a dark. Like when it's dark,
Yeah.
you don't feel comfortable. And how about now?
Yeah, now it doesn't seem to bother me. Even at nighttime, I'll be, all the lights will be off. I'm sort of the last one to go to bed. And before, I just had sort of a sense of unrest. And I don't feel that way anymore. And I also had a sense too, a lot of times that mainly in the dark, that someone was behind me. And I experienced that in the car and then sometimes in the house too, but always in the dark. And that hasn't, I haven't sensed that for a long time. And yeah, I would say my issues in the dark have gone away totally. So,
Thank you, Kari. And I had some clients with the same issue. Some of them, they recalled either childhood memory during our sessions, the unconscious mind recalled, or even genetic memory that somebody really was in the dark who tried to attack.
yeah. Um,
And that's why it's a sense of somebody's, for example, behind.
yeah.
Thank you. Also, we worked on feeling anger and and sometimes losing temper and not standing up for yourself in a positive way.
Yeah.
And what you told me, that kind of anger was gone and losing temper, right?
Yeah. And I don't know if that was a program that had to do with loss of control or lack of control. But yeah, I haven't had those issues. Which is nice because I never felt comfortable when I would get in that state. And I would always, regret, after the fact having, gone, to an extreme physically and how you feel. And yeah, I don't experience that anymore. I feel so much more grounded. And less reactionary. I think before I was quick to react. And now I'm more calm, more settled, and I just slower to react.
Yeah, and that kind of anger or irritation or losing temper, it is some kinds of a fight state of nervous system. And it's unconscious. It's not like because you are not, you are a kind person, not that type. Some people are can be violent, for example. It came unconsciously.
Yeah.
Reaction.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, we are talking about that reaction, and also you had kind of an opposite reaction, feeling around people like feeling shy and introverted, right? Not feeling safe around people. I believe we worked on that. Yes, we worked on that. And how
Yeah.
now? How do you feel around people?
Well, I feel more comfortable, for sure. And I have branched out, beyond sort of my, small social, I've done, starting to see friends now that I hadn't seen in years, and also had sort of, fallen away from, and I had declined, for a period. You decline so many times and then it sort of falls away. And now I've been more accepting and um feeling more around people that I'm closest to, feeling um more sure of myself, more able to set boundaries if I need to, more confident in my delivery and exchange, and in my beliefs and feelings.
Great. Uh,
Mhm,
and I had some clients who could not say no to people or some
mhm,
people.
mhm,
It created a lot of problems in their lives. And
mhm,
when we did this work, like again, some even genetic memories came, some imprints,
mhm,
and or childhood that created it. And by
mhm,
working on those unconscious programs and imprints, resolve their issues completely. Those
mhm.
issues. Uh,
Yeah.
and also, I remember you did feel cold all the time. Do
Mhm.
you-
Yes.
Oh, why?
Actually, it's kind of interesting because even in the summertime, I would go to work and I would have on a cashmere sweater and long slacks, and then I would get done with work, say at noon or early afternoon, and I wouldn't change, and it would be 90 degrees out. And people would even comment too about, my attire, and I didn't even think about it. And then all of a sudden, after our work, that next, I think we started in the fall. So that summer, I was wearing shorts, and I even had people comment to me, that they had never seen me in shorts before. And so that I've noticed, I mean, that was one of the things that we didn't necessarily work on.
Yeah.
But it changed, and it was a big change because I always felt cold, my hands, my feet, just in general, even in, warmer weather. So that's been a nice change. And that's just been a positive, just that's so good for me physically, for my physical health, not to experience that coldness. So
Thank
mhm,
you. And Kari, someone, even we did not work on some issues, when
mhm,
we worked on some unconscious programs, on
mhm,
some specific, that create specific issue, the
mhm,
same programs can create other issues.
mhm,
And that's why working on one program, it can decrease some issue if memories that created it are partially the same, or
mhm,
completely resolved other issues if uh, root cause memories that created these unconscious programs are the same.
mhm.
And
Yeah, that's been really the beauty of the work, is that it can help so many other things, and sometimes there are things that you don't even know are an issue.
yes,
But then they change and you look back and you're like, oh my gosh, that was a big deal. So I really enjoy that part of it. It's just like an added bonus.
yes, thank you. And most of my clients experience the same.
Yeah.
One issues, yeah, it helps them to decrease or resolve the other issues. Even
Hmm.
if we did not work on those issues directly. And
Hmm.
I had so many clients, men and women, who experience the same, feeling cold all the time. They don't
Yeah.
feel anymore because unconscious programs that create this issue, they affecting your endocrine system and
Mhm.
also blood vessels that create feeling cold.
And another thing too is that I'm more easily to I've never been a big person to sweat. But for a long time I didn't sweat at all. which I thought was sort of strange. And now when it's appropriate, I am sweating, which I think is good. That's a good sign physically, which is something that had stopped for a long time.
Right.
Mhm.
And also, I had clients who on the contrary felt too hot, even during a cold weather. And
Mhm.
there are imprints that created, and it's possible to help with that too. I help
Mhm.
some people who had like heat inside, feeling of heat, or
Oh yeah.
being very sensitive to hot weather.
Mhm.
And some people sweat more for like you didn't have that issue on the contrary, but some people do it for good reason
Mhm.
because part of that can be stress reaction, and it's possible
Mhm.
to help with that too. And
Sure.
also, we worked on symptoms of endometriosis.
Mhm.
You told they improved dramatically, right?
Mhm.
And you
Yeah.
something like 80% improvement, right?
Yeah. I would say my bloating is less, during the cycle, bloating less, cramps are less, more manageable. I'm not rolling on the floor, in pain like I was, and more manageable, more able to go about, daily, functions, which has made it a lot easier during those times.
And
Mhm.
you don't have the same pain now, right?
No, yeah, dramatically reduced.
Yeah, and also somehow now I remember now you had also back pain, for sure low back. And
Mhm.
how about pain in your back now? Do you have it or less or not anymore?
Less, because I had an accident, that impacted my sacrum. And so it's been quite a bit less, but I still notice it sometimes when I sit a certain way, or when I sit on certain chairs. But it's much better than it was.
And we had, I wrote down only one session working on that old injury. And one
Mhm.
session is not enough. I had
Yeah.
couple clients who worked more and they don't have pain anymore in
Mhm.
the spinal column or some joints after
Mhm.
injury. Then if to do more work, there is possibility for that to be done.
Sure. Mhm.
And also, you told me, and I saw it, you
Mhm.
look different.
Mhm.
What you mentioned, your face is softer, younger,
Mhm.
your wrinkles are gone.
Mhm.
Please talk about that.
Yeah. Well, I would say, I thought I had a pleasant look sort of before I had the health crisis, and then when I had that, it was like my face just like it almost like, I mean, it felt like it just sunk in, like my eyes were sunk back and my lips were small, and I had no color to my skin. And I have one video from that time and I don't recognize myself at all. And there's some pictures and it was sort of like, it's me there, but like nobody was home, was sort of the sense that I got. And um, yeah, that changed dramatically. And that's one thing I noticed immediately before we even did the first session, just when we were talking, and that I was starting to look different. And then it just from there it just kept going and getting better from there. Mhm.
What I noticed, because um, I ask my clients to show me photos, like
Mhm.
before my work and after, and even a video, because I assess face
Mhm.
and also posture, how people walk, the quality of their voice to
Mhm.
see unconscious patterns.
Mhm.
And you change so dramatically. You
Mhm.
look now so young, Kari.
Mhm.
Even you're a young person, now you look so much younger. And
Mhm.
lines are gone. And what you told, your lips were tight.
Mhm.
Now they're more full, more kind of relaxed, full sized, and
Mhm.
symmetric.
Mhm.
And also eyes more open, like bigger, coming out. Because
Yeah.
unconscious programs can create neuromuscular locks everywhere.
Mhm.
In your eyes, around your eyes, jaw, lips, forehead, and that can create kind of that look. Eyes are more squinty or sunk, not
Mhm.
open, not coming, kind of more like round out, and the same for lips. And that can create for some people over time a lot of wrinkles.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
had some clients even over 60s. Wrinkles pretty much disappeared most, working on neuromuscular locks. And
Mhm.
some people have asymmetry in face. One
Mhm.
eye can be smaller, one bigger, or crooked smile. And this
Mhm.
is due to some unconscious programs cause it. And
Mhm. Yeah.
these programs can create congruency in how you are, like acting, moving gestures, and also symmetry in your face.
Mhm. Yes.
Yes, and you notice it too.
Oh, yes. Mhm. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And how fast did you experience results after sessions?
Pretty fast. I would say, um, almost right away. After the session, like right away after the session, and I would say they're fully realized like pretty quick. And for me anyway, I feel a huge release during the process. And then I usually don't have those same feelings, when I look at the drawing, um, right away. So I would say pretty much right away. And then I think there's just more benefits that come in, hours, and, if maybe it takes a little bit longer in some cases, but right away, it's like I latch onto it right away.
Thank you. And I would like to mention that my clients do drawings, and it's not drawing something, it's just thinking about the issues they want to work on. It's kind of more like abstract, whatever is coming, mechanical drawing. And looking at this drawing, a lot of unconscious patterns and programs will come. And
Mhm.
when you resolve some unconscious program that creates certain somatic experience in any part of your body or entire body, if it's resolved, looking at the drawing, that feeling will be gone, and
Mhm.
in their life, that feeling can be gone.
Mhm. Yeah.
And people integrate differently. It
Mhm.
takes different time, from hours to couple of days, several days. And
Mhm.
I had some clients, it took 1 week or 2 weeks to integrate till
Mhm.
results.
Yeah.
For you, it happened very fast.
Yeah. Very fast. Yeah, and I think maybe the things that could take longer maybe are the things that you're not working on necessarily. Um, and then you notice, oh my gosh, that's changed or that's different. And but yeah, I notice pretty fast. I would say pretty fast. I feel a turnaround pretty immediate. Hmm. Yeah.
Uh, for with your understanding, your experience, Carrie, are
Hmm.
the results long lasting,
Hmm.
even permanent when we completely resolve that issue?
Yes. Hmm. Yeah. for example, the feeling cold, that's never come back. The anxiety, all of that, all the mental things never came back. Yeah, I mean, in my experience, it's been long lasting. Hmm.
Thank you. And it was the same for my clients. If
Mhm.
we, for example, did not finish working on the issues, decrease, and
Yeah,
finish working is gone, and the results most of the time are permanent.
sure. Hmm.
Thank you. And
Yeah.
did this work change your perception of yourself, other people, and whatever is happening around, and how you look at things?
Yes, it's definitely changed my self-worth, my confidence, my self-image, and I think how others perceive me too. Um, and it's made me more empathetic, more loving, less judgmental. Um, yeah, it's really changed a lot of things in that area. As far as just how I engage with other people, but I'm more friendly to myself too, which I think is huge. Um, giving yourself grace and just, the internal dialogue um, is just much more pleasant. Hmm.
Thank you. And
Yeah.
did you learn new things about yourself, about your own unconscious patterns during sessions? Is it work like, was it, when you did this work, was it interesting for you?
Oh, yeah. Very interesting, especially if memories would come during the sessions, because it's interesting what you think, the issue you're working on and what you think it's connected to is, in my experience, has not been anywhere close to it. So that's been really interesting. Um, and just how it works. I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, and has such a dramatic effect um on your life. I mean, it's way more than just the one thing you're working on, I think. Because you're tuning into your body in a way that you haven't before, and so you're connecting with yourself um in a way that you haven't before, and I just think there's beauty in that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Interesting enough, you use the word beauty.
Hmm.
I believe beauty comes really from inside.
Yeah.
It is projecting through your entire body how you are,
Hmm.
expression of your face, movements, uh,
Yeah.
like how you're around people, and
Hmm.
unconscious programs can affect that too. Like
Hmm.
again, people are becoming what I notice more beautiful, not
Hmm.
only how they look, but inside,
Yeah.
because working on the unconscious programs can improve dramatically emotional intelligence,
Hmm.
social intelligence,
Yeah.
all of that, how you are with yourself and people around.
Yeah. And one of the last sessions we had, I had emailed the drawings to you, and I had said that I felt happy inside. And that was really cool, actually, because there was just a huge release. And I mean, that just affects everything in your life. And I just felt happy inside. I mean, I never ever like said that or verbalized that or felt that. But that's how I felt after the session. And I thought that was really remarkable because I mean, it has the possibility to change a lot of things. So,
And I'm not surprised what you are saying Kari, because I did hear it from other clients
Mhm.
that a sense inside for some of them, they didn't feel light-hearted,
Mhm.
joyful,
Yeah.
often because all of that caused by unconscious programs.
Mhm.
If you feel that way, nobody or nothing can make you completely joyful, happy,
Yeah.
light-hearted. Uh,
Mhm.
happy, yeah, but not happy. And
Yeah.
by working on the unconscious programs that created, you can
Mhm.
feel and you can be completely different.
Mhm. Yeah, just feeling more comfortable in my skin too. Going into something like this before we started working together, like this webinar, I may have been really nervous. I may have not slept the night before. And I really didn't, I slept fine. I didn't have nerves. I mean, I was more curious than anything, but not nerves. And so I think that's a huge change too, just feeling comfortable, more comfortable in my skin for sure.
And for me, I have a sense feeling and being more authentic,
Yeah.
like
hmm
expressing for who you are.
hmm
Otherwise, if not, it can create a lot of unease inside.
Yeah. hmm
Right. And my last question, like if you can briefly tell me what is your understanding, how this methodology that I created, uh, how does it work?
Um, well, um, you're able to facilitate um a way in which for myself, I can connect with my unconscious mind to identify certain programs that aren't serving me, that have been passed down genetically, or even happen in my own life, and clear those so that I can flourish, really. And allowing that to take place is just transformative. I mean, it's been such a blessing for me and for everyone around me. Um, and it's amazing. I can't speak more highly of it for people, and it's just it's amazing, really.
Thank you so much for being
Mhm.
here. I really enjoyed doing this webinar with you, Kari.
Yes, I enjoyed it too.
Thank you. Uh,
Mhm.
and have a very nice afternoon.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.